Welcome to this timeless pick a pile rune reading. The connection point for this set of readings is going to be the concept of the unseen. So what we are doing is we are looking at those moments in life where you're kind of on a precipice. You're at a place where things have the potential for massive shifting and changing. And it's in that place where things can feel as if they're not moving or as if things are too easy. The other side of this, however, is that the unseen often also deals with ideas or concepts that are so new and so unlikely that it is very hard for us to grasp. So let me go ahead and show you guys the set of crystals that you will have to choose from for your connection point for this set of readings. There are timestamps listed below to help you navigate this video. Welcome to those of you who chose option 1. Option 1 is white or rainbow moonstone. What you are ultimately being drawn to is an association with the moon. Now, the thing that is coming up is this. The moon itself has different gender associations depending on the culture. So in our present day, it is very easy and natural to associate the moon with the divine feminine. But in certain cultures, as is the case with Norse culture, Norse mythology, what we find is that the moon is actually represented by the masculine. The moon, Mani, is the male brother of the sun, Suna. And this is what we have in Norse mythology, whereas a lot of the more prevalent dominant mythologies have Luna or Selene being a feminine figure. So that is an awful lot of talking, and really the importance behind this, being drawn to this pile, is actually ultimately saying something to you about your own constructs and understandings of, well, I guess I should say, what constructs you have around gender and gender identities. Because this is a place where we get to remember that gender is a social construct. So that is the initial energy that selecting Moonstone brought for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at the runes themselves and see what your specific reading has in store. The very first thing coming out right here in the center of the pile, on the very top we have Isa, and then we have Dagas and Sawelo. So there is something at the surface. And remember, these readings are intended for looking at the unseen in whatever capacity that is showing up in your life right now. This energy with Isa is about constriction. So this is something about constricting, either to have a unified front and to have resolve and to be able to show up in your full capacity, unwavering, or it is an energy that can symbolize restrictiveness, the inability to move, the inability to flow. Now, what is interesting for your reading is that, like I said, we have Dagas, and right below it is Suelo. So now we are looking at not only the daytime cycle, but the sun itself. So there is, in contrast to this water energy with Issa, we have some very strong fire elements coming out. And we have the representation of day, so we're looking at the sun in contrast to the moon with the moonstone that you chose. And then very specifically the sun itself. So there really is a lot of duality showing up in this particular reading already. Now, at the very bottom of this pile that we just looked at, we have Fehu. And then we have Awaz leading up to Perthro and then Gabo. So from this central point moving up, what we are seeing is there is something about sense of worth or sense of accomplishment with Fehu coming out at the bottom. So deep within the subconscious, there is a feeling of questioning one's worth or questioning the value that you bring to a particular situation. So shedding the light and uncovering this type of energy of what this means to you and how this is playing out, this is something that is going to be fundamentally important for you to examine. Now, it was leading up to Awaz, so we are also looking at alignment energy. We are looking at bringing into context all pieces that make up the whole. So this is a sense of being able to zoom in, zoom out, to be able to understand the individual components of the particular situation that you're going through, but then to also understand them in the larger context. So there is a sense of being able to shift and move within these environments, within these different capacities, to be able to move in the directions that are meaningful and beneficial to you. It leads up to Perthro. So at this point, we are now looking at concepts of dreaming and pulling stuff out of the quantum realm. We're really looking at bringing forth something from the imagined into the real existence, into the real experience in a physical sense, in a way that your body is going to be able to interact with and navigate. That is the type of energy with Perthro coming through for you. So it's a very interesting context so far for this reading. When we follow this energy all the way up, then we come to Gabo. So what we are ultimately seeing here for you, for those of you who were drawn to this particular stone for looking at these concepts of what is going on within the unseen for you at this particular time, what we're seeing is that there is some sort of imbalance is what it's feeling like in terms of the giving and receiving that is taking place in your exchanges and your activities. So going back to this sense of worth and bringing from the imagined into the real, bringing from the dream time into the waking time, if you want to think about it that way. What we are seeing for you guys is a need to really recalibrate and rebalance any of these exchange points that you are having with those around you. Very interesting. I just realized that when we then come down on the backside of the reading, we have Kenaz and Thurisaz. So we have more illumination energy. And what this is actually just making me think of is that one of the primary ways that the moon functions for us is that it reflects the light of the sun, right? And I'm saying this because the rainbow moonstone is the stone for your reading. Now, when we're looking at this concept, we understand that the sun generates its light. It does not reflect its light. The moon reflects the light of the sun. So the moon in this capacity is acting very much as a translator almost. And that maybe is the kind of energy I'm seeing here when I'm looking at this interplay between light and dark, between light and shadow. These different, because we had the fire elements with Dagas and Sawelo, and we're getting fire again with Kenaz and Thurisaz. So what we're looking at here now is understanding that the energy for you moving through this unseen space. And the beautiful thing about this is that Kenaz is our personal torch. This is our personal illumination, a sense of wisdom and inner guiding light. So what we're seeing here is that the feeling that's coming through is that you yourself act as a reflector to others. That is the feeling that's coming through, is that that you are figuring out a lot of these things for yourself, and you're figuring out how to move with this light energy, figuring out how to translate vibration in a level that is at almost like a light frequency is the feeling. And this one really is feeling like it's tying into this self-worth that was coming up earlier. So understanding your source of inspiration, whether it's coming internally or whether it is coming from sources outside of yourself, that is something of note. That is something for you to be paying attention to as you navigate through these moments where you are in the unseen, where you're dealing with something that is right on the razor's edge, and things could go one of any number of ways, and it really is about what is the next step you're taking. Now, we have Thurisaz coming in after that, and Thurisaz is bringing illumination and change. Thurisaz is going to be lighting up your environment suddenly, and it is going to be lighting up your environment in a way that is showing you that light does change the environment. So this is coming through a sense for you guys is about understanding the power of being able to turn on or turn off your energy flow in terms of what it is you are putting out and what you're getting back, in terms of understanding that there is that exchange component for you. There is something about needing to make sure that what you are giving and what you are receiving, how you are interacting and engaging, is going to be really helpful for you right now. And what was happening when I was talking about Thurisaz is I was getting images of like a light switch, like how convenient and how easy it is in our modern technology in our modern world to be able to navigate our light cycles, our waking cycles, the cycles where we feel productive and things are illuminated and they are moving forward. And that power of flipping a switch, the effortlessness of that is in your fingertips. And it's not just about when you turn on or off a lamp. This is a type of energy that is within you and that affects the way that you are interacting and navigating within your world. That is the feeling and the energy that is coming through at this point in the reading with everything that's laid out the way that it is. So understand that. And it looks like we have 2 final runes three. So we have Nauthes, we have Rido, and we have Othala. So what we are understanding with this at this point in the reading for you is that understanding your power, understanding your value and your worth, this is something that is necessary. This is a nudge, like you being here at this point in the reading and still listening. This is a nudge from your guides and your guardians, letting you know that this is your next step. This is your next thing that you are meant to be working on as you develop into the next stage of who you are wanting to be in this lifetime. And with Rido, it is a sense that this is something where you are to be remembering the joy in the journey. You are to be reminded that just as easily as you turn off the switch, you can turn it on again. It really, coming back to that light switch imagery is really important. It keeps coming up. So the effortlessness of being able to do that is really remembering that that power is there. And so as you are walking, as you are moving along this path, making choices, making decisions, taking action, all of these different things, as you make these different choices and things turn out maybe in ways that don't feel aligned or aren't working for you, that is when you get to step back in your power and you get to shed light. Remember, Kenaz was this personal illumination. You have the power. You get to shed light on these changes. And it's almost a feeling of getting into the habit of understanding how effortless these changes can be. That is going to be beneficial for you, because it's almost a sense that you're doing it already and you're just missing the connection point. You're just missing seeing that the way I am is, there are certain ways that I am that do come effortlessly to me. And these are great strengths of mine. These are great areas of wisdom that I can then share with others. And part of why this is coming through in this capacity is we have Othala ending out your reading. And Othala really is about laying foundations. So this really is for you coming back to a sense of remembering your own power and remembering the effortlessness within your power. So in the places where you're feeling like there is lack of illumination, lack of clarity, like we don't know what the next step is, you're not understanding what you're supposed to do, you're not understanding how you interconnect within these situations, coming back to the exchanges, the way that you're working with others, that is going to be helpful as well. I know this reading turned into a very like hidden superpowers feeling almost, but that is what I have for you for this reading. I want to take this time to thank you so much for being here. I want to thank the crystals, and I want to thank the runes, and I want to thank our guides. I am wishing you well, and I look forward to seeing you at future readings. Welcome to option 2. Those of you who chose the second option, you chose a crystal called Trolleite. And Trolleite is a beautiful crystal that comes in varying shades of blues, grays, and whites. So, like all of the stones in this series, it was selected as a connection point because of this integration or this merging between shades, between polarities, if you will. So with Trolleite, we are looking at throat chakra energy because we are dealing with the blue vibration, the color and the vibration blue. That came out really weird, but I think you understand what I mean. So Trolleite is really great because it actually is a stone that helps you with speaking intentionally, with actually having the words behind your actions and being able to then line up actions behind the words that you have already spoken. So this is a stone that's really important with helping manifestation in terms of the power of the voice. So that is what initially drew you to this reading. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual runes and see the message. Okay, so your particular reading has quite a bit of leverage to it in terms of how a bunch of the runes fell. So the first thing that we're looking at, though, is right here we have Laguz. And Laguz is an indication that we are dealing with third eye energy. We're dealing with being able to connect into the unseen, to be able to really go into the spaces of knowing, in the spaces where we don't necessarily have logical, concrete explanations behind certain things. This is the space and the energy we're dealing with here. And it's lined up right next to a rune that came on its side, which for me, when I do readings, this is a blind spot type energy. So this energy that is creating some sort of potential resistance or conflict is Manas. Manas is talking to us about our sense of unity, our sense of being able to collaborate and cooperate with others. So this is the feeling that is coming through is a feeling that there is struggle in like the work environment for you was coming through very specifically when I started talking about Manas. So there is some work capacity and work in the sense of this is a way that we show up. This is something that we are doing because of external set parameters, either because it is something that we feel called to do and we know that we are working towards that end, or something more practical like showing up to your place of employment where you are earning a paycheck. And then there's an understanding that there are certain things we do in an employment situation for this to happen. And what was coming through very strongly is the sense of work, the sense of however that shows up in your life, but it is the feeling of work environment, not leisure, not friendship, not romantic. It very much is feeling work related. So this, I would be curious to see where it goes, but this, being able to speak openly and connecting in with third eye energy being the first part of it, there almost is a feeling of, it's a feeling of responding to a higher calling. It's an understanding of the resistance points that are showing up in this capacity are because this is a roundabout fix. There's something about this that is not in alignment. That's the feeling that is coming through with this workplace energy. And now obviously this is a general reading, so these kind of things are not going to resonate for everyone. But when they hit me like that, I do try to speak them out loud for those people who are needing that particular message. Now, if we move into the rest of your reading and we really start to look further into this, what I'm seeing is that some of this energy, it looks like it's because you're supposed to be building your own path. You're supposed to be planting seeds. You're supposed to be building foundations for what it is that truly, ultimately calls to you and lights you up and just makes your heart sing. That is the type of energy that you want to be moving towards. So in this space of the unseen, in this space of feeling the change but not being super connected to what that change is just yet, this is the type of energy coming through. And the joy of it, what you get, what you receive from these interactions is super, super critical. It's very necessary with Nauthiz coming out and Wunjo that you really are learning to hear your own bliss and follow your happiness and to really move towards the things that make a difference in your life. And they don't have to be large steps all at once. Like I was saying at the beginning of this reading, the unseen, the energy of the unseen can feel very shifty almost. It can feel like an energy that is hard to get a hold of because sometimes it's so unfathomable that it's hard to grasp. Sometimes it is so familiar and it just takes a little bit of tweaking what's already known, what already works, what's already familiar, to modify it and align it to a place that is truly going to bring out the best in you and everyone you interact with. That's the kind of energy coming through as I'm feeling these two runes coming out. And they are leading to Ansuz. Ansuz is the rune that deals with communication. So we have more throat chakra energy coming in. And what is coming through too, specifically because this came out in connection with this communication we were talking about with Trolleite earlier, and the ability to shift and move. This energy for you with Ansuz is an energy that is reminding you that it is okay to change your mind. It is okay to voice something, to say it out loud, to give it the power, to move with the power by vocalizing it, but it does not have to anchor you. It doesn't have to shackle you. That you get to re-speak anything and everything that is not working for you, everything that is coming up as a point of resistance or challenge. And it's also a sense of being reminded that the way that you communicate is vast. So this is looking at understanding that communication points, we communicate needs and desires in a variety of ways. It's not just spoken, it's not just written. The thing really is to start really re-examining how you communicate. Because this communication piece is going to be key for any type of conflicts that arise, right? Being able to communicate effectively and clearly in situations, in all situations, that is how you're going to be able to navigate any of these challenges that come up. And it's almost the feeling that's coming through now is a sense that some of the stuff that you may be working on, some of the personal development that you are working on, maybe it's not being received by everyone in your immediate group or vicinity because they are not in the same place and it's harder for them to connect or understand. So this is an understanding too that part of this communication is because you are on the precipice, you are on the horizon of something shifting for you, of something that is going to be moving and literally changing the way that you interact with your environment, with the people around you, with your own self and your understanding of what is possible and how you get to derive satisfaction and contentment from these different interactions. Now, we'll move back up to the top of your reading because there are more runes that fell on their side. So what this is saying for me in this reading, what's really coming through is perspective is going to be so huge for you. Being able to just take a teeny tiny little step outside of a familiar perspective is really going to give you the tools that you need to be able to go into a new space and to be able to connect with others in really meaningful ways. But we will take a look. One of the runes that was showing challenge energy is Berkana. So Berkana is dealing with your ability to nurture. So this is almost a sense of self-soothing. This is a sense of understanding what behaviors you are engaging in that are self-soothing in a capacity that are going to help move you through places of uncertainty, moments of challenge and discomfort. Being able to say, hey, I wonder, was this person were they reacting in this way maybe because of the type of day that they had and it had nothing to do with me? It feels personal because I have a relationship with this person, and that relationship, there's a lot of unsaid communication. But really, the feeling that's coming through is remembering not to take other people's words and actions personally. It's a very hard thing to do in a lot of respects, but it is very liberating when you get to a place where you can start to truly understand that someone's love for you, someone's dislike for you, whatever spectrum they're on, really so much of that comes back to where they're at in their life, what they're going through, what they're capable of understanding, and how they're able to engage with that energy going forward. So that is the kind of feeling that's coming through for you with Berkana. We also have Elhaz coming through in a challenge position. And this is our sense of safety and security. This is dealing with root chakra. So any type of practices that you can do that can really help ground you and make you feel safe This really is about feeling safe and feeling comfortable and entitled to having your voice and your opinion and being able to share your experiences in a meaningful way. That is something that is, as you work on that, will help you unfold the rest of this, should you choose to go down this path. Again, if it resonates and it's something you want to work on, these are suggestions, these are points that you can use to begin the journey or continue the journey. But if it's not resonating, don't force it to resonate. That is a critical thing. And again, that's the Mana's energy that is coming through, is understanding where you're maybe holding other people's opinions and values too strictly, where you're holding them in a space assuming that it is truth for you when it might not be. So that's kind of an energy that was just coming through as well. Now we have, and Tiwaz is one that came out when I was pulling the ones that were on their side. So Tiwaz, we're dealing with balance and fairness and justice. So precisely what I was just talking about, figuring out what is feeling comfortable for you and understanding how to navigate that with respect to where other people are on their journey. So we have Thurisaz and Sowelo finishing out your reading. Thurisaz, we are looking at fire energy, and we're looking at moving and clearing what no longer serves. So with Thurisaz, you know, the phrase cleanse it with fire, you know, it's fire is an element that will help clear out. It will help get rid of anything that exists that is not beneficial, that's not serving. It also will clear out things that are beneficial and that are serving as well. So Thurisaz for you is an energy or a reminder that you get the choice. Like, you have these energies and these elements at your beck and call, and you can use them respectfully to help you clear and let go of things that are holding you back, things that feel too heavy. But understanding that when you start working with energy that is clearing and moving and shifting, it causes disruption. That's part of how it works. And so in this disruption, there can be a little bit of tenderness, there can be a little bit of anxiety. So just be aware of that, and looking at this clearing energy as growth energy. It really is energy that's going to give you the space to start planting the seeds for the things that you really do want to grow, to start speaking the things that you really do want to bring into your existence. And Sowelo is the last rune for you guys. Sowelo, we are dealing with sun energy. So this is just confirmation to just shine your light, to just be you. And as you do that, you will start to see that the world around you shifts. The world around you begins to open up and become accessible in ways that it previously hadn't. So that is your reading. I want to thank you so much for being here. I want to thank our guides. I want to thank the crystals, and I want to thank the runes. I am wishing you well, and I look forward to seeing you at future readings. Okay, welcome to your reading. If you chose this pile, you chose a mineral called Cobalto Calcite. And like all of the crystals in this set of readings, it was chosen because of its duality of what it holds in the light and the shadow. So calcites in general are minerals that are really good for energetically cleansing. They have, in their rough form, they have a waxy or vitreous type of coating or texture. These are tumbled, so they do have a coating on them, but that quality of calcites means that they are minerals that help us energetically with clearing and cleansing, much like soap does. So Cobalto calcite is a calcite that forms, and cobalt is involved in the process. So we also in this mineral have the dancing of multiple minerals. And the final thing that is the base energy that would have drawn you to this reading is that we are dealing with pink, the energy and the vibration of the color pink. So we are dealing with heart chakra. We are dealing with Cobalto calcite in general deals a lot with relationship healing, relationship love, understanding the ways that we connect to others and work in partnerships and in communities. So that is the base energy that drew you to this reading. Let us now go ahead and take a look and see what the runes themselves have to say for you. Okay, so the first thing that is coming out to me actually is this set of 3 right here on the top. So we have Elhaz, which is speaking to protection. It's speaking to the support of our guides and guardians. So we had that energy coming out right next to Berkana. And Berkana, we are then looking at nurturing energy. So there is a sense of grounding and protection and nurturing. So in combination with the stone, the Cobalto calcite that we've seen, there is a feeling of returning to what nourishes you, what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what brings you bliss. What are the things that really, 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 really bring a smile to your face, because it brings a smile to your heart first. That's the kind of feeling that these runes like, and what's coming through is this is an invitation, this is a suggestion from your guides and guardians that if you do not have practices built around grounding and nurturing, self-care, those different type of things, this is the energy starting out this reading that is telling you this is an invitation for you to start doing something like this. It could be simple, could be super easy, just as simple as when you are brushing your teeth in the morning, after you get done, you look at yourself square in the face and you say that you love yourself right there in the mirror. It's that kind of thing that this energy, this loving, supporting energy is really coming through with the opening of this reading. That was not expected, but this really is feeling like a heavy suggestion, a very, very highly recommended suggestion that these practices, something like this, start going into place. And the thing is about bringing the awareness to the action, combining the thought and the behavior and the soul, combining all of it to bring it into alignment. So we have Awaz that was sitting at the top as well, which was part of the 3 that was originally drawing my attention. And this is really coming through with as like a sense of, if you you want to make sure that you have the right tools for the job, right? So if you are trying to collect water, yes, you want a bowl-shaped item, but you don't want a colander. You don't want that bowl-shaped item to have holes that is going to let the water go if the purpose of the container, the purpose of the action is to collect water and to have the water in that container. So that's the example that just came through, is really thinking about the tools you're using. Are they beneficial? Are they effective in setting up these type of self-care routines, nurturing routines that are going to help move you into a place that you are going to start standing. The feeling is that you're going to be moving out of a space of heartbreak and letting go of things that were holding you back, things that were limiting you. And a lot of this comes down to, maybe the colander worked when I was doing this task because that's what I needed. But the colander isn't working anymore. Now I need an actual container, an actual bowl that will help me hold this emotion, that will help me hold the water, that will help me be able to navigate with precision and to effectively use my resources around me. That is the feeling that came through, and it was coming through with a certain type of urgency. So I hope that that was helpful, but it just really needed to be shared in that way. So the next pieces that we have coming out, we have Kennas and Lagus. So Kennas is torch energy, and what we're looking at with Kennas is we're looking at our knowledge, right? What do we know? What can we see? What are we sure of? What do we have conviction about? Once we know what these places are, then we know that we have not lived our entire life in that space. We've not always had the convictions that we have in this exact moment. It's a process of change, and it builds, and it's fluid, and it moves. And that is the type of remembrance that's coming through in this reading for you, is that you develop over time. And yes, there are things that happen outside of you. We're working collaboratively with others, and things don't always go the way that we think that they should or that they will. But you have the power within you to course correct. You have the ability to move in the direction that is going to be serving you, that is going to be helping you build these foundations. Because once you have these foundations, then you can move so much more powerfully. And you can move from a place of joy and satisfaction. You can move from a place of knowing that you have come through these cycles and you've done it more than once. And the fact that you have done it means that you can do it again. It's that kind of energy of remembering that, yes, we celebrated our victories. We celebrated our first loves. We celebrated our first careers, jobs. We celebrated our first skill set in a particular field, like woodworking or crafting, things like that. And when those things resonated, when we moved forward with the training, then we moved up in levels, right? We moved from being the novice to being a tradesperson. And then we moved from being a tradesperson then to honing the craft and becoming a type of artisan. It's really looking at the ability to flow and move within your power, within your personal power, which is ultimately tied to your joy. That's what's coming through here. And so understand, it's very important at this point in the message, what's coming through is that the power is within you. The love is within you. The protection, the safety, the security, it's all within you. It is not with outside factors. That's what's coming through very strongly. And the rune that I was talking about before Wounjo caught my eye and needed to be part of that particular segment of this message was Laguz. So with Laguz, we are working with what we know. And again, this is tapping into your intuition. So everything that I was just talking about in terms of understanding your power and your spark and your joy and your drive, really reconnecting to that, connecting to the things that you know to be true, the things that are, you know them so deeply, and this is why they're feeling unseen. It's because it feels like it's regular every day to you. And perspectives are going to be important in being able to understand how to navigate this. So this third eye energy is really important because it is energy that reminds you that you have the ability to move within different realms of consciousness. You are able to light different areas and different knowing. And understanding the value of that diversity is really, really going to be critical for you in understanding any type of challenges or struggles that you might be feeling when you're looking at this concept of unseen energy, of what's below the surface, of what is there and is affecting me that I'm just not aware of. Where am I shining my light? Where am I bringing awareness to the situation? Now, for you, we also have Suelo and Thurisaz. Thurisaz is dealing with lighting up the darkness. This is dealing with illuminating the background in such a way that you get that instant download, that instant moment of insight. It's quick, it happens now. You leave the experience physically changed, physically altered. Your senses have been recalibrated and you are now operating slightly differently than you were before this energy came in, before this illumination spread across the sky only to disappear, not knowing if another lightning strike would come and illuminate the space again. It's that type of energy. But we also have it sitting with Suela, which is sun energy. This is solar. This is about providing nutrients. This is about being the primary source of energy. This is about understanding that you are your own power. You create your own light. You create the things that are really, really going to move you in this lifetime. And it's a sense that moving through these different pieces, as you begin to understand how to shift and move through these different levels of consciousness and different levels of awareness, your ability to have this personal light really becomes more of a guiding light. So if you want to think about this energy, you can think about it in terms of connecting with your guides and guardians, really connecting in with elements, connecting in with angels, connecting in with sacred geometry, connecting in with the seasons, whatever type of energy that you work with that resonates with you, what language is that energy speaking? That is the type of energy that you want to be moving with. That's the type of energy you want to be seeking, is the stuff that is going to resonate with you, the things that are going to pique your interest and really get you excited. we have, and so the final thing on that, I realized that I just trailed off, is that it comes down to not just readily believing what everyone else is telling you, right? Your sense of safety and your sense of love and nourishment and completeness and integration can look different than what it looks like for someone else. And so this Suelo energy really was that sense of like, you get to determine for yourself what aligns with you, what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what makes sense to you. And when it doesn't make sense anymore, when it's time to move on, when you've learned what you can already learn from it, it's okay to let it go, because we have the Thurasaw's energy, that lightning energy. So really what this is feeling like at this point is understanding that you get to flow with these changes. You get to have a certain sense of control about how you are dancing. That absolutely is within your power. That's the feeling that needs to be expressed for this energy that was coming out. The final rune that we have for you guys is Ewaz. So Ewaz is horse energy. This is very much about spirits, guardians. This is about soul star chakra. So we have root chakra energy. We have crown chakra, third eye. We have sacral, and we have heart chakra. Now we have soul star chakra. So what this reading is ultimately panning out to, the overall way that I would summarize this reading then, is that these changes or these movements that you're going through, this is the time where your guides and your guardians want you to know that they are there, they are available. And so if at this point you're thinking, well, what guides, what guardians, how do I connect, who do I connect to, who gives me the answers on how I find a way to connect? The message at this point, what I will leave you with, is that, again, it really comes down to paying attention to what resonates with you, what is in alignment, what gets you excited, what really makes you want to know more, to thirst after a connection. So I tried to give plenty of examples of that earlier in the reading, to kind of open the door to different ways of thinking about these things. But just remember that anytime it's feeling like it's too much, or it's feeling like there is lack of clarity when you're sitting on this precipice point, in the unseen, asking for help from guides and guardians is an option for you. And the first step for you, it really feels like, is going to be figuring out what type of energy you want to connect to. And whatever energy that is, whatever these type of things are for you, that is your soul's information. That is your soul giving you permission to research, to investigate, to really start playing with these different relationships. How do you interact with them? What do they mean to you? Have fun with it. So that is your reading. I want to thank you so much for being here. I want to thank our guides. I want to thank the runes. I want to thank the crystals. And I want to thank you for being here. I am wishing you well, and I look forward to seeing you at future readings.